Let's bring in now from Washington, D.C., political reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester. Julia, good to have you with us on this morning as well. So what are the political impacts of what we're seeing play out here with the caucus results being somewhat withheld, depending on when they get released, either today or perhaps even beyond that? How may this hurt or help some of the candidates?
Well, I think right now, obviously, from that report we saw from Vaughn, you're seeing the candidates declaring victory, in a very widespread way. Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar's speech were very much victory speeches going into New Hampshire, and I think their campaigns made the calculus that this was probably the only thing they can do, because right now, those two candidates in particular, as well as a number of other candidates in the race, but those two candidates who are kind of, especially for Klobuchar, in the mid-tier, trying to climb into the top tier of the race, they want to get that momentum going into New Hampshire, and they want it to seem like they have that momentum going into New Hampshire. So they did really all that they could do without the results. However, it'll be interesting to see how voters, I guess, digest these results once they come in and how they impact New Hampshire. However, I think at the end of the day, there are a lot of questions about this caucus process in Iowa and the future of this process and how maybe even legitimate it is. The campaigns, journalists, and voters and caucus goers themselves last night were expressing quite a bit of frustrations about the process. So it'll be interesting to see what the future of this process is if these participants in it can't necessarily take it seriously going forward.
It's an interesting calculation, to say the least, from the campaigns declaring victory, considering there can really be only one victor at the end of the day.
Right.
What are you going to be looking for when, in fact, the results do come out?
I think we'll definitely be looking for those reactions, how those campaigns kind of digest and spin those results. And in particular, I'm looking at Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. We've seen that Iowa has turned out to be a very neck-and-neck race between those two candidates. But for Bernie Sanders in particular, this is really a strength or a test of this four-year-old organization that started in 2016 and that has appeared to only have gotten stronger. We'll also be looking at how Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, two Midwestern politicians who have put quite a bit of time, energy, resources into Iowa, whether that paid off as well.
All right, Julia Manchester, thank you. We're going to talk to you again in just a little bit. Still ahead, the Senate will hold its final impeachment vote tomorrow. We're taking